characteristics and history of the stadiums. Let me just run through quickly the 10. So we had Arsenal, Bournemouth, Aston Villa, Brentford, Brighton, Chelsea, Crystal Palace, Everton, Fulham and Leicester. They were the teams which we covered in part 1. So if you want to look at those, make sure you check that out. But we're going to be looking at the other 10 teams in the league today. And yeah, hopefully you guys do enjoy. And just a little disclaimer, so I am actually currently recording this whilst I have COVID. Yeah, it sucks, but in case my whisper sounds quite bad, that is why, so I'm sorry about that. But yeah, I'm trying to battle through. I thought I needed to produce this part 2, so yeah, give me a little bit of slack please. Anyway, let's get into it. So Leeds, their stadium is Elland Road. Now it currently has a 37,792 capacity, which makes it the 12th largest stadium in the league. Now it will actually become 50,000 however when the West Stand gets demolished and rebuilt, which is what they are currently planning to do. It was originally called the Old Peacock Ground, but it was renamed Elland Road due to the pub opposite the stadium being called Elland Road, and that's hence why the club's nickname is now the Peacocks. The ground was actually used in World War I for drill and shooting practice, and Sir Alex Ferguson actually called Elland Road the most intimidating venue in Europe. It also hosts many rugby games, concert and boxing matches. Here's what it looks like from inside and out. As you can see, it probably does need a bit of redevelopment. It's a little bit weird. I do find stadiums really weird where one stand is huge and then the others are like very small, so yeah, but it's a very nice stadium. It's definitely, I agree with Ferguson, very intimidating and hostile for clubs to go to Elland Road. Liverpool, their stadium is Anfield, has a 53,394 capacity, making it the 6th largest stadium in the Premier League. Now, it was originally the home of Everton from 1884 to 1891, and the first ever game there was actually against Rotherham, but only 200 people watched this game, which is mental. And originally, Liverpool had planned to move from Anfield and build a new stadium, but the recession and high interest rates made the owners abandon the plans, which is kind of crazy to think Liverpool not at Anfield, so that was probably a good move. And in 11 seasons, Liverpool have not lost a game at Anfield. Now, I mean that in terms of like 11 seasons, not 11 in a row. That would be crazy. Their longest winning run at home is there's a bit of a typo there, but the longest ever winning run at home in the Premier League is held by Liverpool when they won 24 consecutive league games in a row at Anfield. Oops. And the This Is Anfield sign, which was installed by former manager Bill Shankly, he did it to instill fear into the opponent. That is the sign in the tunnel, and Jurgen Klopp actually banned players from touching the sign until they won a major trophy. Of course, they can now touch it. Here's what it looks like from inside and out. Of course, very iconic stadium, very old school, and yeah, great stadium. But similarly to Leeds, got this huge stand here, which I believe was recently redeveloped, and then we got the smaller ones there. Man City Stadium is the Etihad Stadium. That is because of sponsorship reasons, but it is actually called the City of Manchester Stadium. It has a 53,400 capacity, making it the 5th largest in the league. Now, it's originally built for the that should not be 2022. I believe that it should be the 2002 Commonwealth Games. And then it was bought by Man City for 20 million in 2003. rather interestingly, the first game was actually against Barcelona, and Nicolas Anelka was the one who scored the first goal in the stadium, which I found really interesting. The stadium actually hosted the 2008 UEFA Cup final between Zenit and Rangers, and in 2011-12 season, Man City went unbeaten at the stadium and got 55 points out of 57 at home, which is the joint best record in Premier League history. So they do very well at the stadium. Here's what it looks like from the inside and out. I really do like it. I think it's really clean on the inside. We've got, unlike the other stadiums like Liverpool and Leeds, because this is a fairly new one, it is very, there's no uneven stands. It looks very clean and modern. Yeah, I'm not sure about the outside, but I'm not sure if this is an old picture, but it kind of looks like there's construction or something going on the outside there, so I don't know what's going on there, but it's a nice stadium. Moving on to Manchester United, where their stadium is the Old Trafford, and this is actually the biggest stadium in the Premier League, the second biggest in the UK behind Wembley. It has a capacity of 74,310, and it's been home of Man U since 1910. But they actually had to share a ground with Manchester City from 1941 to 1949 due to World War II bomb damage, which I did not know and I found really, really incredible. That's a random fact which I don't think many people knew. And it actually hosted the 2003 Champions League final, the 2012 Olympics, the FA Cup final, and 1966 World Cup and Euro 96 matches, so it's hosted many, many big games. Now they did actually have plans to expand and redevelop Old Trafford. They are plans which are believed to be in progress, but there is also an option of demolishing the stadium and building a brand new one. It is unconfirmed yet of what they are going to do, but they are definitely looking at options, as again it is an extremely old stadium, and as you can see from the pictures, it is looking a bit like worn down. And Bobby Charlton is the all-time top scorer at the stadium with 138 goals. I mean, from the inside it looks fantastic, and I mean it's absolutely huge, but as I said before, it does need a bit of redevelopment, but I think once it's redeveloped it's going to be one of the best stadiums in the world. It is a fantastic stadium, I must say. Newcastle Stadium is St James's Park. It has a capacity of 52,305, making it the 7th largest stadium in the league. It's been home of Newcastle since 1892. Now, it was originally the home of Newcastle Rangers and Newcastle West End, but those clubs did fold, and then Newcastle United took it over. And rather weirdly, so in 2003 I found out MGM agreed to make a super casino behind the Gallagher end, but new laws on gambling ended the plans, which, I mean, it's just really random. I thought, imagine a casino on, like, right next to a stadium. Now, they had 300 million plans in 2006 to expand the stadium to over 60,000 capacity, but a year later Mike Ashley took it over and ended those plans, which is definitely one of the many reasons Newcastle fans hate Mike Ashley. And the ground is actually named after the street opposite, which is called St James Street, and this has actually led to, I didn't realise this until I did the research, but there's lots of debate on if the ground needs an apostrophe or should have a second S, and in 2008 the club insisted the ground would be pronounced with a second S, so I mean there's a bit of a debate apparently on what the name should be, if it should be St James Park or St James's, does it need the apostrophe, whatever, but yeah, that was just a design looks extremely weird. I'm not really sure what's going on here. Personally, I don't like the design, but it's still a huge and very historic stadium. Nottingham Forest Stadium is the City Ground. It has a capacity of 30,444, making it the fourth smallest stadium in the league. Now, Nottingham Forest actually bounced around a lot of stadiums before they got to this, so they originally played at the Forest Recreation Ground, but it was actually common land, so they couldn't charge fans for a ticket. So, as Forest were getting successful, they did have to move to Trent Bridge, but then at that ground they were kicked out by Notts County, who agreed to be the tenants and booted them out, which is mental. And then they eventually built the City Ground in 1898 and raised the funds through donations. And I put that in quotation marks because it was actually meant to be like a bond, and they were meant to get paid back, but they never ended up paying those people back. So basically, they just donated. And after the World War, the ground was actually flooded with water, which reached the crossbars apparently, and therefore they became one of the first teams to actually use floodlights. And in 2007, they announced plans to build a 50,000-seater new stadium, but there were many ownership changes, which meant the plans never happened. But in 2019, the club did announce plans to redevelop the ground to make it more modern and increase the capacity to 38,000. So potentially could be some change at Forest on their ground, and because again, as you can see, it's very old school. And yeah, it is. I mean, this stand is just really weird. I'm not even sure you can call this a stand. Like, these three are nice and developed, but this is just really, really tiny. It doesn't even look like a stand. So yeah, I'm presuming that's what they're going to develop. But yeah, very historic ground again. Moving on to Southampton's stadium, which is St Mary's Stadium. It has a capacity of 32,384, making it the 8th smallest stadium in the league. Now, it's been the home of Southampton since 2001, and it actually cost them around £32 million to build. Now they had to move out of their old stadium due to the Taylor Report. I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but the Taylor Report is basically a report, I believe, of Hillsborough, which meant that all stadiums had to be seated. Now, the stadium has hosted 9 England games and was used as a venue for England while the new Wembley was being built. And this one here is like one of my favourite facts in this whole video. So, apparently, according to a local legend, a group of Portsmouth fans buried a shirt under the stadium while it was being built, and this cursed the team, which caused their losing streak when the stadium was open. And then they got in a witch who performed a ceremony which lifted the curse shortly before the club got its first win at the stadium. Now, I have no clue if this is true, but I really hope it's true, because that is incredible. I absolutely love that fact. Any Southampton fans out there, let me know if you knew that, because that is hilarious. I'm not sure, it might just be a little joke they have going on, but that's what I researched and found. There's what it looks like from outside, and inside, as you can see, the beach is basically right there. It's a really nice stadium. I must say, I didn't realise it was this good. It's really clean, nice and modern. Yeah, from the inside looks decent. I must say, I'm really impressed with Southampton Stadium. Moving on to Spurs, the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and now this is the most recently built stadium, and it's one of the best in the league. It has a capacity of 62,800 second largest stadium behind Old Trafford. It's been home of Tottenham since 2019, however they have wanted to move from White Hart Lane since 2007, so it's taken them a very long time to get to this point. Now they failed in their bid to buy the Olympic Park to West Ham in 2012, and after this they later announced plans with the Tottenham Council to actually stay within North Tottenham, and the new stadium would be the catalyst for a 20-year regeneration project of Tottenham as a place, which I thought was pretty cool. So they built the stadium over the old White Hart Lane, which they demolished, and they had to play at Wembley for, I believe, 2 seasons temporarily. The first ever game at the stadium was against Crystal Palace, and Heung-min Son was the one who scored their first ever goal there. It also hosts NFL games, and they reached an agreement when the stadium was built with the NFL to host at least 2 NFL games a year for the next 10 years. So yeah, this is one of the most modern stadiums in the world. It is a fantastic stadium. I've gone past it many times. From the outside it looks incredible. From the inside it looks incredible. And you know, this is one of the best stadiums in the world, to be honest. Yeah, absolutely amazing stadium. Moving on to West Ham, the London Stadium. Now, the stadium actually has 80,000 capacity, but under the terms of the lease for football it is only limited to 60,000, which therefore makes it the 4th largest in the league. So it was built in 2011 for the 2012 London Olympics, and as I mentioned, West Ham won a bidding war between Spurs and 4 other parties to buy the stadium in 2012. And one of the main reasons they got it was because they said they would keep a running track around the stadium, and they would invest 100 million into redeveloping it into a 60,000 seater. Now there were actually appeals from Leyton Orient, the football club, who claimed the stadium was too close to them and that it would force the club into bankruptcy. But those claims and appeals were rebuked, and West Ham eventually moved in, and the opening match was against Juventus. Again, I mean, these opening matches at stadiums are really weird. Like, you would never expect West Ham to beat Juventus in the opening match at the stadium, but yeah, the first Premier League game was against Bournemouth. That's what it looks like from the inside and out. Again, very modern stadium. I really do like it. It looks extremely nice. Yeah, definitely a good stadium. Now we move on to the last stadium, and that is Wolves Molineux Stadium. So Molineux has a capacity of 32,050, which is the 7th smallest stadium in the league. It's been the home of Wolves since 1889, and it was actually named after Benjamin Molineux, who built a hotel on the land which would eventually be converted into the stadium. Now, the first ever floodlit game was at Molineux in 1953. I know I mentioned Nottingham Forest were one of the first to bring in floodlights, but Wolves were the first to bring in floodlights, and the match was between Wolves and South Africa, which is really random. Not often you see clubs play national teams, but yeah. Now, the Steve Ball stand was redeveloped in 1979 and cost the club 2.5 million, which at the time was one of the most expensive developments in a football ground, and it actually put the club on the brink of liquidation. And in 1958, they planned to rebuild Molineux to a 70,000 stadium, but as I mentioned managed to stop these plans, and further redevelopment actually didn't take place until 1991, which is around 20 years later. So during that time, it definitely decayed a lot and the standards dropped a lot. However, in 2010, the club did announce plans to redevelop the stadium to a 50,000 capacity stadium. However, they have not been given the planning permission as of yet, so until they get that, they cannot go forward with these plans. Here's what it looks like from the inside and out. Again, very old school stadium. It looks alright, looks decent. I like it from the inside, definitely. But yeah, it's a solid stadium. There we have it though. Those are the last 10 clubs. We looked at the first 10, so that is every single club in the league. Their stadiums. Let's go through their stadiums very quickly. So we have the Emirates Stadium, Vitality Stadium, Villa Park, Cheetah Community Stadium, the Amex Stadium, Stamford Bridge, Selhurst Park, Goodison Park, Craven Cottage, the King Power, Elland Road, Anfield, Etihad Stadium, Old Trafford, St James's Park, the City Ground, St Mary's Stadium, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, the London Stadium, and Molineux Stadium. Let me know which one out of these was your favourite stadium in terms of the facts about it. And yeah, I hope you guys do enjoy this. It was a very different kind of video. Make sure, as I said, to check out part 1 if you do enjoy. And if you have enjoyed, please leave a like, consider subscribing.